Hello everyone, welcome to the first video in the Current Affairs Analysis series presented by Annamaya IAS Academy. Today we shall discuss a very important topic which is regarding the safety of women in workplace. The issue here which has come in the news recently is that the Bombay High Court recently dismissed a plea to constitute internal complaints committee under the POSH Act within the Bar Councils of Maharashtra and Goa and the Bar Council of India. So the court said that the POSH Act will not apply to the Bar Council because they don't have, the Bar Council and the advocates, they don't have an employee-employer relationship. Now as UPSC aspirants, of course this is a pretty heated and controversial topic, but what we are supposed to do here is that in the context of UPSC, these are the areas that we are supposed to see. First thing is that we need to link POSH Act, Bar Council and the advocates, and the provisions of POSH Act. We need to see what are the key concepts, how did it start and everything. Next, we need to see the constitution and the function of Bar Council. It's a statutory body. Next, we need to understand how Bar Council controls the advocates. Next, the misuse of power, which is currently in the news. Next, the way forward. Way forward is particularly important when you are writing mains answers. To begin with, the POSH Act. The POSH Act is a landmark legislation in India. It came after countless incidents of harassment of women in workplace. So in 2013, the legislature has enacted Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Women in the Workplace Act. This is to ensure a safe and respectful space for women in the workplace in India. It aims to prevent and redress acts of sexual harassment at workplace. So understand this, ensure a safe and respectful. These two words are important because for the first time, this legislature has defined sexual harassment. This is important because when you are actually filing a case, a complaint, a sexual harassment complaint, it's very easily people across all police stations and all, if you see, they cut the complaints because the entire incident, everything is vague until and unless you have concrete proof. So that's why the legislators have defined sexual harassment. It includes, as you can see, it includes various sectors like it even includes sexually colored remarks. This is where the respect comes, showing pornography, any verbal or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. Now this applies to all workplaces in India, public and private sector offices, education institutes, and even domestic households. So every woman, irrespective of her employment status, even if she is working in the informal sector or as a temporary worker, she comes under this act. Now we need to understand the key provisions of POSH Act, which is also important when it comes to the prelims examination. Now first, they are required to constitute an internal complaints committee. Internal complaints committee, or the ICC as we'll further say, it needs to be constituted in companies with 10 or more than 10 employees. So here they need to have a woman as a head. A senior woman, especially senior officer within the company only, should be the head of the ICC. Also there should be an other external member to ensure impartiality. This is so that the employer itself, they can take immediate action. Next, at the local level, there is a local complaints committee. It is also for companies which have less than 10 employees. Next, this is a pretty controversy area, the time-bound inquiry. Here, in the time limit prescribed is just 90 days. Here is where many complaints go unaddressed because 90 days, yes, they 90 days to close the investigation and everything. They put a pressure on the police and the companies also, but for the victim, sometimes it takes years for them to understand what happened. So yeah, that's the thing. Next is confidentiality. The victim, the offender, the witnesses, everyone, their identities must remain confidential. Now this is a brief introduction about the POSH Act. Of course, you're going to have to go deeper into it. Next, the Bar Council of India, which is a thing in the news. Now, Bar Council of India is the bulwark of legal excellence in India. It is a statutory organization and it regulates the legal profession and education. Now, the most important function in this list is that the disciplinary authority over advocates for misconduct. This is where the entire controversy is happening. Now, if an advocate has any complaint, not just sexual harassment complaint, any complaint, let's understand how this works. And as I said earlier, the ICC, Internal Complaints Committee, under POSH Act, bar councils do not have them. Even the Supreme Court has said that the bar councils don't come under the purview of POSH Act. Now, what happens here is that the advocate needs to file a complaint with the State Bar Council. Next, the State Bar Council, it forms a disciplinary committee to inquire. Now, this disciplinary committee has huge power. They can summon, they can inquire, examine evidence, and they can give a decision. This is where all the controversy and the misuse of power allegedly is happening. If the advocate is not satisfied with this, they can appeal to the Bar Council of India. Even then they are not satisfied, they can file a case in the Supreme Court of India under the Advocates Act. This is according to various reports we found on the in news channels. Of course, we don't have any sources. So according to them, here the Bar Council members have significant influence on enrollment, disciplinary action, and even career advancement. So a little bit of a small notch on their career also, it can kill them. So this is where allegedly they are holding female advocates and asking them for sexual favors and sexually harassing them. This could potentially kill their dream of becoming a lawyer and serve this country, serve the poor and everything, and unfortunately this is what is happening here. Now, despite being public bodies, as I already said, Bar Council, they don't have proper internal complaints committee despite being a public body. Now, allegations of sexual harassment, according to reports, they are buried under huge paperwork, or they are ignored, or as it happens in India, they are blamed on the victim, they are blamed on the woman. In this entire process, in the bar councils, there are very few women who are on the bar councils. So this entire episode of sexual harassment and everything, the decision is ultimately in the hands of men who refuse to understand what's happening, according to reports again. So this is the state of the highly educated people of India. Now, imagine what will happen to the normal women of this country who are working normal, low-income jobs. So I really hope that now the legislature and the executive will come together to solve this issue, because a small technicality should not compromise the safety of women, especially highly educated lawyers who are fighting for the rights of people in this country. So other reforms which we can mention are mandatory POSH implementation in all bar councils, external independent grievance redressal mechanisms, and gender sensitization training for all council members. And I want to emphasize on the word all. All means even people in the higher judiciary. No matter how experienced or how old they are, they need a gender sensitization training and greater representation of women in bar council. So this is my take on the issue. You can, in this presentation, you can use all the points in your answers. But it's just a brief. I don't think you need to go deeper here, especially for mains or even prelims. You don't need to go deeper than this. So for more such content, watch our space of Annamaya IAS. Thank you.